After here we go. Now we're live. Now we're going live. And tonight it's working on the first try. YouTube, yes. And Zoom, yes. We're doing it. We're not having the all that stuff tonight.
We might still do that.
Might still do it. We're not going to do it because we've got a special show for you tonight, everybody. Special. Because we got a birthday boy. Birthday boy in the house.
Happy birthday.
I'm old. This just in. I'm old.
How old? How old, Ben?
You
I
look
already
older
told
than
you.
me.
Yeah, what's up, Jake? Jax?
I don't think so, dude.
I think you're.
I'm pretty sure you know that I'm younger than if out of all the people on this thing right now, there's only one guy I'm actually younger than.
Oh,
That's Ekis, who is so old you can see him. He's dead.
Well, we got some extra people on here tonight. Wanted to say something to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ben.
I'm old.
Yes.
Thanks for reminding me I'm old.
Got our
Sophia asked
birthday.
if you were 50.
Not yet. I gotta turn the volume down on my.
Is either do this or get you a present. So happy birthday.
Hey, you're just like my regular family. Oh, snap! That's all right. I actually got my own present. It was great.
Tell your disappointing birthday story, Ben. My kids will like it. Although they won't like it, but they'll appreciate it. They'll understand it.
Okay, so we weren't doing anything special today, and I was like, and then Jesse was like, "You guys want to get a cake or something?" And I was like, "Nah." You want to go somewhere? I was like, "Where? We can't go anywhere. Nothing's open." So I was like, "Just go get it. Like, let the kids pick what they want, and we'll eat something out and whatever, and blah blah blah." So then the kids want to get Culver's, and I was like, "Fine." Because then everybody gets their own ice cream thing, and I was like, "Whatever, great, whatever, fine." So everybody, Jessie gets the order. She takes Olivia with her. They go there, get the stuff, come back. They ordered 4 ice cream things. We got 5 ice cream things. So bonus, right? That's what we're all thinking is bonus. And then we looked at them, and we got 2 of the thing Grant ordered, 1 thing that nobody ordered, and not the thing that I ordered. So the only guy whose birthday and should have got the right thing got nothing. I didn't have anything. I got 0 ice cream on my birthday. Thanks to Culver's. And I'm never going back ever again.
Oh, come on. You know that's not true.
That would be evil.
I'm not going back. And so then I gave my ice cream to my mother and father-in-law. That was because I didn't want it. So I gave it to them. Because they came over there after a little while after that. And I was like, here you go. I didn't want this ice cream. I didn't eat it, so don't worry. There's no cooties or anything in it. And happy birthday to you from me. So that was what I did. That was my birthday.
Quit being so picky.
Yay for me.
You're just not going to go to Culver's anymore because you're going to go to Denny's and use your senior discount. Happy birthday, Ben. I love you, man.
So there you have it. They screwed up his order on his birthday. Makes him mad. It happens, though.
I usually get my order screwed up. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
The funniest part was they came back from Culver's, and then for a long time, I was downstairs watching football because I got the Game Pass for myself for my birthday for myself. That was my gift. That was my awesome self. Okay, my internet's unstable. Anyways, and then after like 10 minutes, then Grant comes down. And he's like, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah," and he was not one of the people that went to the place. And he's like, "So we got like 2 Oreo mixers, and we got like another one." And I'm like, "Okay, so what are you saying?" He's like, "Well, we got more than we were supposed to, but we didn't get the one you wanted." And I was like, "What? Can I have somebody down here who actually went and picked up the thing and knows what's going on?" Because I didn't really understand. understand what he was trying to say. And nobody would come down to tell me because I knew I was going to be super mad and throw a fit. So they were all afraid of me. And then they all came down. And then there was a lot of yelling and screaming and other things. And then that was the end of that. So it was a sad, sad thing.
Aw,
Of screaming and yelling. And on my birthday.
dang, that sucks. That's right. We'll make it better. His birthday's not over yet. Birthday's not over yet. Can do some good stuff yet. All right, thanks, guys. I know the kids are already bored because they don't like. Well, they do like talking about Culvers, but definitely not about Packers. So thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, families.
Hey, well,
I guess you can stay on because I don't. Your video's working now, and it looks like you might have clothes on. I can't tell. Oh, there! Oh, hey! Touchdown! Field goal. There he is.
I might not have pants on though. You can't tell.
Let's
That's
keep it that way. All right, I'm gonna duck out and just
Yikes.
follow on the YouTube feed.
Thanks,
Happy
Rick.
birthday, Ben, and I hope it gets better in the
Thanks,
next
Rick.
3 hours. So,
Well, just seeing you made my day at least 1% better.
awesome.
Nice.
I'm glad I could help you. All right.
All right. Thanks,
All
Rick.
right,
See
Catch
you.
you guys on the stream.
Keep those snappy comments coming, Rick. We'll see you. Talk to you later.
See what I can do.
Yeah.
Bernard's
All
here.
right,
Bernard,
Bernard's up.
what's
What's
up?
up, Bernard?
It's Ben's birthday. That's what's up. Ben's birthday. Oh, Joshua George, you want to rip on Mo? I'm sorry, man. We let Mo off the hook. We were pretty hard on him last week.
Yeah.
We drove him insane after a while. It was awesome. It's so good. It took a while to break him, but Ben and I were determined. We just did the show as long as we needed to until we could finally break Mo.
I
Well,
think
he
we need.
always picked
We'll
on
get
me.
him back. Yeah. Well,
We'll get
his,
him-
his
yeah.
football team is called Better Than Eckes. I mean, that's his actual fantasy football team's name.
Not this year.
That's just picking on you every time you see it.
Yeah, it's not nice.
What
But
do you
yeah, he'll be
expect
back
Very
before the
Viking
next Viking
fans?
game, and then we'll just have to give him crap for the first Viking game, right?
For sure. Oh yeah, he'll get a lot. Joshua George also says happy birthday. Bernard says happy birthday. Hey, some happy birthdays
old.
going Ben's way. 46 big ones.
46.
Now you've actually completed 46 years. You're working on your 47th year starting today.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. I always like to make sure I get that correct. Uh-oh, is Eric
Oh, Eric
joining
coming
again?
back.
He must have thought of something better. He must have thought of something good.
All right. Are we gonna get into some football or what?
I think. Well, Eckes is here. Talk to Eckes for a second. I gotta clean up something real quick.
What's going on?
I made a little spill in my beer. I missed my mouth.
Well, Eckes, what's your we haven't we had a whole show about the Packer Viking game, but what did you think about the Packer Viking game? What's your just overall opinions?
Oh, it was awesome to see Rodgers go through progression so quick and then actually throw to people who were open. I really like that. And Devontae was open most of the time when he threw to him. It sucked that Devontae dropped that touchdown in the end zone because I have him, so that would have been nice. But
Whatever.
but
That was actually a good play by that Holden guy, that Holden, whatever his name is.
he didn't touch.
He
him.
actually got his hand. He got his hand in there. He got his hand in there.
Devontae catches that 9 times.
What are we talking
But
about?
Not a slant. He sucks at slants.
Oh
Ben
yeah,
just
yeah,
asked
yeah.
my opinion about the last week's game, and Lindsley is going to kill. That's going to hurt.
And he's whining about fantasy football points.
No,
Instead of the Packers game, he just whines about fantasy football.
Ooh, Eckes.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Oh.
enough points with Mahomes and McCaffrey and Adams. 2 touchdowns. He wanted a third touchdown.
and T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, hey, hold on.
And
We gotta-
Tiger.
We got Bernard's feeling really strong about the Lions going down. We're gonna get to Packers talk in just a second, Bernard. But before we get to that, Josh George has a great question. Who was in college longer, Eckes or Ben?
Me.
Can you tell
Me.
us how many
Yours.
years?
Me, how many years?
7.5.
8.5. And I never graduated. Ha! Got you beat.
How
I'm a
many
bigger
credits?
loser.
How many credits?
162 credits.
220.5.
Yeah, I believe
You
that.
know that rule they made about charge them after for the extra credits? That was because of me. When I used to go in and register,
Really?
you'd have a time that you had to pick up. You had to go in and you could register for classes. And for like my last
Yeah.
3 years, I'd be the first one there and it'd say, "Good morning, Jason." And I'd just take whatever I wanted.
Yeah, me, what did I do? I would do the classic Ben, because by the time I was
You were
22
playing
or
Madden.
24, I was getting grants. I was getting, oh, God, well, you lived with me. I freaking would
Yeah.
sit in my room and watch Braveheart and play Madden. That's all I ever did. Anyways, I would take the minimum 12 credits every year, every semester, and then drop a class after the first week, but before the third week, so I wouldn't get cut from financial aid, but I wouldn't get a I wouldn't get a 0 or whatever. Every time I did that for it was like 3 years in a row. It was really pathetic. It was bad. It was bad. And it wasn't until after I started dating Jessie, then I kind of was like, man, I realized she was going to graduate before me, and she's 4 years younger than me. I was kind of like, okay, this is just pathetic. I got to start paying attention and actually going to school and studying and stuff. And then my last 2 year or a year and a half, I got really good grades and I did awesome. I was getting like A's and like everything, but I had screwed around so much. I never got my degree because I didn't go to enough concerts and studio classes and stuff, which is stupid, but it was my own dumb decision. And I didn't have anybody in the music department that I kissed their ass, so they bypassed that stuff for me, like all those other guys did, because they were all kissing Doc's ass and everybody else's ass, and I was
Whoa! Hey! That's it's pretty frequent A word
hey,
use.
I
there.
can't help it. I was not a butt kisser.
Okay, I'm just
Whatever.
saying.
Either way, I didn't kiss anybody's butts, and because of it, they wouldn't bypass simple, stupid concerts, even though I had 162 credits, more than enough credits to graduate college. And I actually fit all my requirements other than going to enough concerts, which is even stupider and dumber and even more dumb.
Josh George says you dropped out of his logics class.
Probably. I was in that logics class. I remember dropping out because he might think this is funny. I don't know. The day I dropped out, I went in, because you have to get the professor to sign your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I actually had a Yoda shirt on. Actually, well, it was Yoda. It was a Star Wars shirt. And on it said, "You must unlearn what you have learned." And my logic professor guy was like, "Man, you don't even need this class. I'm definitely going to sign it for you." And he let me go just from that shirt that I had on. It was crazy.
Whoa!
Nico with the shades. He looks like Aaron Jones with the shades on the sideline.
What's up, Ben? Happy birthday.
That's who I thought it was Aaron Jones.
Oh, I thought it was Max Kellerman. Thanks,
I look
Nico.
I'm
Didn't
sick
I
of the
just see
Max
you like a
Kellerman
week ago?
stuff.
You told me to start Henry Ruggs instead of Adam Thielen. You big jerk. It's all your fault.
I take no responsibility for that at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, one thing that is funny though about the college part that you guys were talking about going so long. I mean, I went a long time too, but mine is not even, it compares to you guys. It doesn't even compare to you guys. So, Nico, you were done in what? How long?
I got all my high school and college done in the 90s.
Really?
Well, end of semester.
Oh, okay. Nico's a little speedier than us. Hey, Bernard says he doesn't. He's feeling really confident about the Lions, and I don't know because last year's games against the Lions were kind of scary. You guys talking about the Packers now. I mean, it's that weird thing. Those games they were both very strange games, not well played by the Packers whatsoever, and they were both those weird situations where they didn't actually win until the game was over, until there was no time left on the clock. So they actually never had a lead in the game until the final play. And that's super weird. And for some reason, I don't know, Detroit's just one of those things. Like the other teams, Detroit might be the stinkiest team, but the Packers usually have the hardest time with them for whatever reason. Any thoughts on that? Ben, you said
I went to the game that Mason Crosby missed 5 field goals.
Oh,
I went to Detroit. That sucked.
see. Okay, well, we got one figured out. What about all the other times? What about last year?
We always play like crap against them.
I know.
Where's the game at?
Lambeau, no fans.
What's the record of the last 25 games of the Green Bay against Detroit in Lambeau?
Uh,
The last two, they're 1-1 because they lost.
Yeah, what about the 24 before that?
Okay, 24 for that, they won.
Well, so they're 25-1 in their last 26 at Lambeau.
I know, but
You're calling them a problem? We beat them every single time, every year.
I'm just saying there's struggles. It's like the games are,
closer than they should be.
yeah, for sure. They just seem like other teams, the Detroit will look like, wet noodle defense, and they can't even hand the ball off to each other or throw the ball. And then they play the Packers and they do okay. So I don't know. I don't get it. Or like last year, the Packers got guys that don't catch with their hands. They try to catch with their face mask, and then the ball bounces up in the air at the 2-yard line and it's intercepted.
Mhm.
And, Mason Crosby misses 5 field goals, and, whatever. It's just something. Or like in the last game where Rodgers it was like throwing like garbage and overthrowing everybody and chucking it downfield 100 times and overthrowing almost everybody just in that game. Just weird stuff. Weird stuff happens, man, against the Lions. I don't like it.
The Lions know a little something about drops too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was bad. That was bad.
That was a game-losing drop.
That was painful.
It
It
was
was painful.
DeAndre wasn't too swift.
You certainly would like see him beat the Bears. I mean, the Bears should always lose.
I'm down for that.
Speaking
Bernard.
of the
Ben, go ahead.
oh, what? Go ahead.
I was saying Bernard just.
I was gonna say,
he just heard some crap about Carson Wentz and back a few years ago how he was better than Aaron Rodgers, and he doesn't want to hear that crap anymore. We don't either.
well, I mean, that's the thing that happened for the last 4 years, really. There'd be like, it was a second year guy, and then he was playing like an MVP level and blah, blah, blah. And we went through all this stuff. And every year in the top 100, Carson Wentz was higher than Aaron Rodgers. The year that Carson Wentz was supposed to win the MVP, and then he got hurt, so then he couldn't. And then Nick Foles came in and won the Super Bowl for him. And then the year after that was Mahomes, was better than everybody. And then the year after that is Lamar Jackson's better than everybody. And now this year, everybody's crowning Kyler Murray before the season even starts, that he's going to come out and have a super MVP type season to be better than Aaron Rodgers. Except there's one guy who's just that good every single year for the last 12 freaking years, and that's Aaron freaking Rodgers. So everybody should just shut up, because the only guy who could possibly be anywhere near Aaron Rodgers, as we know, is Gardner Minshew. That's all we know.
Nico only one incompletion last week.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his
yards?
fault, by the way. That was a drop. I watched the whole game today. It was a drop.
You watched the whole game?
Yeah, he watched Jaguars is his favorite AFC team. Second favorite.
I bought NFL Game Pass last night at 11 o'clock at night for my birthday.
How many of those passes were more than 5 yards downfield?
Not too many.
When Drew Brees does it, you get mad, but when Gardner does it, you love it.
Gardner completes all of them.
And Brees had the percentage record last year.
Two of his touchdowns
more than 5
were
yards to complete.
20 yards downfield. Two of his touchdowns were 20 yards downfield.
Yeah. Well, then his other passes were 1 yard.
Hey.
Oh, we got a crasher, another crasher.
Happy birthday to you.
Elvis is here. Hey.
Hey, buddy, happy
Back
birthday.
from the dead. Thanks, Browner. I'm old.
We're all
Or at
old.
least that's what they tell me. We are? We're all old?
We're all old, but Ben looks old.
Oh.
You know what? I'm looking at you guys, and I'm telling you, I'm looking pretty dang good.
Come on, I got the
That's
shades.
right. Can you brush your hair over to one side for us, please?
You're right here.
Oh, I tried that. Actually, I tried to do that picture again today after I got out of the shower, and my receding hairline goes back so far. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to make sure my hair, which made me even then purposely put it even more down the middle, so it covers up the receding hairline even more. See?
I think you should have bangs.
Oof.
No, bangs are bad. Bangs are never good.
You guys chat. I got to check on my kid. Since my wife-
Packers by 10
All
Sunday?
right, Jason, write this in.
We're going
You
more
got
than
all
that.
these guys. You got to be in charge here. Jason's muted. I don't know what he's doing.
Jason's muted.
Sorry,
Unmute
Browner.
yourself.
Browner, tell us. Sorry, I like to mute myself sometimes. I wish I could do
Well,
it
stop doing that.
all the time. Browner, what do you think about the? I know you think the Packers are going to beat the Lions. Tell us why. Tell us why.
Well, I
Oh.
just think second quarter and beyond, Rodgers and that offense look finally comfortable and clicking, and I just don't think Detroit has what it takes to stop that. I guess it was 1 week. We'll see, but I just knowing the Lions' history and kind of what they showed against the Bears, we better win.
They have Adrian Peterson now.
Blah blah.
He's older though, but
Dude, I watched that game too with my Game Pass,
Okay.
just so y'all know. And Adrian Peterson was a monster.
he probably is.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what it sounded like.
I'm
he
a little
was-
concerned about that. Kenny Clark's not going to play, and these other guys say they're ready for the challenge, but they didn't look ready for the challenge last week. If the Vikings would have kept running the ball or could have got back in the position to run the ball, seemed like they would have probably done just fine. That worries me still.
Yeah. I mean, Peterson was like, he was patient and then like doing a one cut and then going. Like his burst was there and his patience was there. And he looked like a guy who, has had an off season where he's just hanging around. Did not, he doesn't look like an old guy. He looks like a guy who's ready to go. And he only had 2 carries that were under 8 yards. Like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't because the big holes were there, is because he was seeing the hole and finding the hole. And most of his carries were like 8 yards, 12 yards, 20 some yards. Like he ended up having 90 yards on the day. And I remember I watched the game. He didn't have more than 12 carries, maybe at the most, but he was just gashing the Bears defense. And that's scary to me because when Carson was in there or no, what's his name? What's the other guy?
Carry on.
Lions running back. Carry on. Yeah, that's the guy. Carry on Johnson. He was not getting anything. So, and Swift was more of like he's more like a, Alvin Kamara type guy. So they're doing like stuff out of the backfield, passing to him and like weird reverses and crap
I
like
felt
that.
bad
It
for
wasn't,
that dude. I saw the last 3 minutes.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
dropped that pass in the end.
I didn't feel bad. He's a line.
Who's gonna be in the league longer, Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore?
Probably Frank Gore because he's never going to quit.
He's starting now, where the hell is the Jets?
Did he start for the Jets?
That's crazy.
Peterson got some time off when he was not playing because he beats his kids.
Okay, Nico, you don't have to go there now. Come on.
Did hold on.
Did he not get suspended for a year for beating his children?
I think he did,
I thought that was for pictures with his brother.
but that's it's something.
I take it back. He's suspended for unknown reasons.
Ben, and I have to ask this question. So Frank Gore, was he in the NFL when you guys were still in college? Since you and Eckes went to school so long,
God.
Was he in the league before or after Ben attended his last concert?
yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's a good
My
question.
last concert. I don't even know if I went to half of the ones later on. I know this much. I went to more of my last year in college than I ever did the 8 before that because I was goofing around too much. I don't want to, it's sad, but hey, whatever. You do what you got to do.
Mom says the ESPN has voted Lambeau Field as the #1 football stadium.
Woo.
What do you think about that?
I agree.
Man,
Nice.
Yep.
that's the games I'm there.
Yeah, then it drops to #3.
Frank Gore, 2005. This is rookie year.
Ooh, okay.
2005. No, I was out of college by then.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good at least. He's
I haven't
not-
been to any other stadiums, but I'm sure they're all worse than Lambeau.
I got a question for Brown. Brown, did you happen to see any of the Ravens highlights?
Yes, because Lamar Jackson's on one of my fantasy teams, so
Ooh,
I tune in a little bit now.
Did you enjoy his throwing motion?
It seemed a little bit better than it has been in years past.
Really? He drops it down so weird. It just looks so weird to me. I don't know how I mean, he's pretty accurate with it, but it still seems weird to me. I don't know.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to ask Browner if he saw Patrick Queen when he was watching the Ravens game.
Patrick Queen he didn't look that good. He didn't look very aggressive.
He didn't
Sadly.
do much, no.
No.
At
He looked
least
pretty
he was
fast.
at
impressed
least he was a
with-
first round pick, and he was on the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was suited up.
But who was relatively impressive was the Jaguars' new starting safety, Josh Jones. He had 12 tackles. He led the team in tackles, you guys.
He only had 6 tackles.
He had 6
read
solos
it
and
wrong.
6 assisted. No, it was 6 and 6.
Oh, he had
Yes, it
6
was.
tackles and 6 solos. I don't know, whatever. Who cares? I want to talk about is what about Chris Barnes? That guy looked pretty good.
That's the
What
guy
do
I
you
want to talk about too.
About the undrafted rookie who seemed to make some plays. He read some stuff and made some plays.
My impressive rookie was Dylan. I thought for the few carries he got, he looked good.
Did?
He looked awesome. He looked fast and attacking. Go ahead, Nico. Sorry.
That's good for my 2021 fantasy team.
Not if you trade him to me.
I wouldn't trade him for your old garbage team.
I got Gardner Minshew.
You don't even know who to start.
I'm not asking you ever again. That's for sure.
Well, Ben, happy birthday. I got to go. We're in our camper and enjoying the up north for a nice weekend. So I wanted to stop in and tell you happy birthday. Go Pack. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Brown.
Take care, Browner.
Thanks, Brown. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Hey, I got to say this about Barnes just to give you some info, Ben, because I read Wes Hodquist did a story and pointed out some things. He only had 15 snaps, but he had 6 tackles in 15 snaps. All right. Plus, here's what the Packers ended up doing, right? Because of the weird year and all that, no preseason games, they actually released all of their undrafted guys. So they had a bunch of undrafted rookies. They ended up releasing a bunch of them because they figured people wouldn't know enough about them and pick them up. And then they signed, those guys back to the practice squad. And then they could change the designation like they did with Barnes, where they brought him up and all of a sudden he was their starter. But him being on the 53-man roster for the first game, because he wasn't actually called up from the practice squad until the day before, marked the 16th straight season that the Packers have had at least one undrafted rookie on their 53-man roster, which is pretty crazy. So that's another reason why undrafted guys want to come to Green Bay, because they know the Packers are so bad at drafting picks. The picks they draft are not very good, so they have a good chance of making the team. That's my take.
No, they're right.
But I thought that was pretty cool. So, and on top of it, guys been saying a lot of good stuff about him. And I don't know. I mean, he looked aggressive. He diagnosed. He attacked stuff. He might be their best linebacker from inside.
Well, I listened to Mike Pettine's press conference yesterday, and he said, because they asked him about Chris Barnes, and he said that in the offseason, they asked him when they knew that he was a guy who, could possibly make an impact on the team. And he said even back in the spring on conference calls, when they were having Zoom meetings, they would test the guys, and Chris Barnes tested out higher than almost all the other guys. And a lot of times it's not just getting the right answer, it's how fast you get the right answer. And that's how he tested so high. He knew what to do on all these different questions. Whatever the question, I have no idea what the questions are they ask him on these tests they take. But whatever it is, he knew the answer and he knew it fast. The other thing was, they asked Chris Barnes, I saw that interview too. They asked him, well, did you have any clue that you were going to be called up to the active roster and then also starting on Sunday? Did you have any clue earlier in the week? And he's like, I had nothing. I don't know. I was on the practice squad. He's like, I just thought I'd be on the practice squad. He's like, I was taking reps with the ones during practice during the week though. And also Pettin said that. He said he switched in guys. He switched in Owen Burks and Summers and Chris Barnes with the ones during the week, which means that tells you two things. Chris Barnes is smart and picks things up fast, and Owen Burks and Ty Summers are still not picking something up. Whatever it is that they want him to pick it up, they're not picking it up. They're not understanding what's going on. And because of that, they were willing to move a guy from the practice squad who is undrafted to the active roster to a starting lineup within one day to make up for the fact that Owen Burks and Ty Summers don't know enough to be playing, or at least they don't have the trust of the coaches, which is scary in Owen Burke's case because he's been here so long and he was such a high, like a 3rd round pick. But also very excited for Chris Barnes. The guy seems to be real smart, makes and attacks, and reads his keys and does what he's supposed to do. And I'm excited, and it's cool to hear that, that they're willing to, if the guy's the best guy for the job, get him on the field, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, Chris Barnes actually is, I think he's the best player from his high school.
Oh,
Dude, I'm trying to be positive today on my birthday, and you and Nico, like, come on.
Hey,
I'm trying to get the show going here. We're trying to be.
We got another
informational
crasher.
show.
We got another crasher.
What is going on?
Happy birthday, you old man.
Woo!
Oh my God! Look at this guy. Look at this guy with the hair. He's growing the beard
hair.
back and everything.
Oh yeah, I'm going back for my Jeremiah Johnson look.
Ah, yeah, that's a good look.
I thought it was Jake Kubro look. I couldn't tell.
Well, they can't call it that. They let him go. So
Oh,
Don't bring that up. Ekis is here.
He's still a man. Still a man.
you can still like Kumro. You can still like him.
Yep.
Dang it. Well, there you go. Corey. Oh, Bernard says, Corey, be nice.
Yeah.
Bernard, he already knows you, Corey. He's already warning in the chat.
Corey's got to take my spot because I got to get my kid down.
All right, Ekis.
Take care, buddy. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Ekis. We'll catch you
Cheers,
later,
man.
bro.
See you guys.
All right, Ben, dig into it. You wanted to say something else about the Lions. So are you done with Chris Barnes? Or Corey, what do you think about Chris Barnes? We'll get his thoughts.
I think he's a good player for the defense. I mean, he shows that he wants to play. He's got the drive. He looked pretty good the other day. I mean, I can't complain. So, I mean, if you take a guy off the practice squad who's willing to work and play hard and not complain and cherish the opportunity he's got, I say keep giving it to him. Let him show it.
I mean, he's a little, he only think he went undrafted because he's a little undersized. He's only 6'2" and he's like 230 or whatever, 229, something like that. And he's not blazing fast at that size, but he's a little more compact and built and stronger, I think, than some guys like Queen. Like Queen's way faster, but Queen, I guess that really struck me watching some of I didn't watch the whole game, Ben. I didn't get NFL Game Pass like you, but I watched the long highlight package, and I saw a bunch of plays. I was watching Queen just to see what he looked like, and he just looked really passive. He looked really, and maybe he doesn't understand the defense yet. Maybe he's getting used to identifying stuff in that defense, but he looked really passive to me, and I was kind of disappointed. So in a way, I was glad they didn't draft him. But maybe he'll get it all figured out and be awesome. Who knows?
So you like the Jordan Love pick now?
No, I'm not saying that. I wanted a big big defensive lineman. That's what I wanted there. If they weren't going to take a linebacker, we wanted the other linebacker. How's he doing? I didn't even look. Is he hurt? Is he around? Who was the guy that was drafted before? The guy from Oklahoma.
Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Murray. I don't even remember who he went to. I can't remember now. Dang. So whatever.
Corey, help us out. Nico.
I didn't watch
or something.
Who will search for that?
All right, we'll check it out. I'll look
Rick
at
would
it.
search. Rick will search it. He knows it all. Rick will tell us in the chat. Rick
Woo.
knows all that. He always looks stuff up.
So Corey, who are we tonight? Bayless or just Kasich tonight?
You need me to be.
No, you be a nice guy tonight. Come
Yeah,
on.
no.
Hey, Corey, that's the thing. It's like he's okay. He knows Aaron Rodgers had a great game. Corey was doing all this stuff in the offseason. He was being Corey Bayless because he knew it would get Aaron Rodgers fired up and ready to go.
Okay.
For the Pack this season. See, he knows what he's doing. Corey knows.
Well, that's why Rodgers played so good the other day, is because the heir apparent is waiting in the wings. He's got to get his rings now.
I don't buy it.
I think the Jimmy Garoppolo is waiting in the wings as based on Sunday's performance. Jordan Love will be traded before you know it, and Aaron Rodgers will be the Packers quarterback until he's 45. And then after that, they'll bring Brett Favre back in a wheelchair, and there you go.
All right.
Hey, I gotta say something. I got one thing. One thing. Last show, I just hammered on Jamal Williams, and I hammered on him. I watched the game back again today, and he really does a great job 2, 3, 4 times in blitz pickup. Like where there's one time where he went all the way across, like from this side of Rogers to the other side to get the block. There's another one where he gets a guy right up in the middle, a guy that the offensive lineman missed, and he's a valuable guy that way. Like he's smart and he knows what he's doing. But the thing I will say is this: John Kuhn did that same stuff, and he didn't have to get 12 carries and 3 receptions in a game because he was there just specifically to protect Aaron Rodgers. And I'm okay with Jamal Williams, this guy who's specifically there to protect Aaron Rodgers, and that if something breaks down, Rodgers can get him the ball. I just don't want to see him getting carries when we've got A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, who are better running backs. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to me. But I will say this: he did have, for sure, he had 2 on the drive where it ended up in a 4th and 1 going for a touchdown and nothing happened. He had 2 really amazing pickups, blitz pickups on that drive alone that really kind of saved a couple plays. So I'm going to give him that. That's about it. He's still Edgar Bennett to me, or not even.
We were pretty hard on him. Yeah, but again, yeah, you got to have the other guys be better at blocking then, so you don't need to have them out there for primarily that reason. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be. So just to answer the Murray question, he did go to the Chargers. Rick found it out. I looked at it too. He had 8 tackles in the first game, in his first NFL game. So I guess he did okay, but Queen had close to this. I think Queen had 8 tackles in his first NFL game too. So they're both rookies. They're both doing okay. Our rookie, undrafted, is better. Barnes had 6 tackles in 15 plays. And he blew up a screen pass, and he had some other awesome plays too. So nobody drafted him, but he's the best rookie linebacker of the class. How's that? There's my take. Nick likes it when I give some takes.
That's a hot one.
We'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm going to go with this. He's going to have the highest tackle percentage per play of all the rookie linebackers at the end of the season. There it is.
Could be.
I'll agree with that.
That was supposed to be crazy. I didn't think that. Okay. All right. I got 2 out of 3 agreeing. Corey's stoic.
Well,
If he keeps playing 15 plays a game and he makes 6 tackles, yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's efficiency, baby. That's
But
efficiency.
I will say, Jair Alexander made that Madden rating look like it was actually supposed to be that Madden rating. He played really well, I thought.
Yeah, he did. Safeties were questionable. I'm worried about the safeties. What do you guys think about the safeties?
Nico, what do you think?
yeah, they could improve a little bit. They got some room to get better.
Yeah. Well, I got something for you to watch. It's called Leroy Butler's X's and O's. And the brand new episode came up today on YouTube. I watched it. It's a little different because now he has to be with that Tom Silverstein guy, and they got to be in like 2 different places. So it's not as good as when they're up on the board and Leroy can draw stuff and be like, look at this and look at that. And it's kind of, they're still trying to work out the kinks. But Leroy talks specifically about that play that was the Thielen touchdown, where it looked like Savage got like kind of goofed out of his shorts, didn't know what quite was going on. And Leroy kind of talks about it and explains why it happened and how it happened. And it's excellent. So anybody who wants to know more, check out Leroy Butler's X's and O's. It's on YouTube. That's all you got to do. Put Leroy Butler X's and O's, shows up. It's awesome. He doesn't, he kind of says Savage did kind of make a mistake, but also the way the coverage was set up, he thinks that they were expecting a different type of route combination, and they didn't expect Thielen to be going deep on that particular route combination, and they thought it was going to be a transfer of guys over. But the other thing I would say about that too is, on that particular play, both receivers were lined up on the same side. On the other side, there was nothing but a tight end. And Amos was playing deep safety, and he was shaded way over to the tight end side, which made no sense. And that's why it took him forever to get over there, and he never got there in time to break up the touchdown or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know why Amos is way over that far. He shouldn't have been. And then Kevin King, Leroy says this in the video too. He's like, Kevin King has got nobody to block or nobody to cover because they're playing like a coverage, like a quarters coverage or something weird like that. And Savage was down a little too far deep, and he said that Alexander wasn't deep enough, and King was over there doing nothing, and he should have, rotated over to help out or something like that, and he didn't. And that's just stuff that he talks about in the video, and he shows it all up on the screen, and it's pretty cool. But he thinks it was a bad coverage. The other thing was that play, it was a play action play. When you're up by 2 scores or more, why are you worried about a play action? Why are you biting on play action? I have no idea. You should be playing coverage the whole time and understanding what's going on. Kirk Cousins looked at that. He saw Kevin King over on this side, and he saw 2 receivers on this side, so he knew they were in zone. So he knows on a play action play, all the defenders are looking into the backfield. They're going to bite in that play action, and then Thiele's just going to go straight over the top and boom, perfect pass, Kirk Cousins. And it was all just set up for him. Like Kirk Cousins knew that play was going to work before they even called the play, pretty much, based on what he saw on the defense of the Packers calling and what he knew what the play was going to do on its own. So I don't know what's up with that, but check out Leroy Butler's X's and O's. Also want to talk about the Lions game against the Bears and tell you what I saw. Whenever you want to get into that, Jace, let me know. Hope that didn't blurt.
You're okay. I got a segue out of that. Hang on. You talk about Leroy Butler. Just earlier this week, announced that for the 3rd year in a row, he's a Hall of Fame finalist, along with Chucky Woodson. So if this happens this year, Nick, does Woodson go in as a Packer? And could we have Leroy Butler finally make it the same year as Woodson and 2 Packers go in the same year in the Hall of Fame?
I think that Butler deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's going to get in there this year. And I think Woodson goes in as a Raider.
I don't think they go in as anything. Really.
Well, I'm just answering his question.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
They don't go in as anything? Oh, okay.
They don't have to wear hats like baseball players.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
They just go in and then they talk about all their stuff. It's just
all right.
The thing that's so weird is the old days, guys were always on the same team for like 100 million years. And it's only been within the last, 10, 15 years where actual Hall of Fame enshrinees have played for multiple teams. So it's a little bit different thing, than what it was for you when you'd watch. And not only that, a lot of times Hall of Fame players were Hall of Fame players because in football, you really have to know what you're doing. And once you're part of a system, you stay within that system to be successful. And it's hard to be successful moving all over the place. It's really only like Kurt Warner, who's a guy who was a Hall of Famer and he played for freaking 4 different teams or whatever it was. Most guys stick with that one team, and because they're so successful, they kind of just stay there until they kind of get old. And then when they're old, they go to another team and they're like, whatever. So in Woodson's case, he was a dynamic player with the Raiders, kind of fell out of favor after 5-6 years, whatever it was, went to the Packers, then became, grew up and then became a Hall of Fame type player at that point, switched positions to like a safety role later on and went back to the Raiders. So he's probably one of the only few where it's really kind of, like Nick says, it's kind of split down the middle as far as whether he is like known as a Packer or known as a Raider. So that's interesting because most NFL players don't have that split down the middle type career like Woodson had.
Didn't he go back to the Raiders though?
Yeah, at the end, last couple of years, yeah, he played safety for the Raiders.
This is not a great year to make the Hall of Fame since Peyton Manning's going to get in and get 97.8% of all the attention and interviews and talk and discussion.
Not only that, they never had anything for this last year, which had 15 extra guys that they threw on there, including all those coaches, and that never happened because of the COVID-19. So not only do they have to do like 27 dudes or whatever it was they're supposed to enshrine this last summer, they're going to do them plus the guys they do this year. In my opinion, they should honestly not even do it this year. They should just carry over from last year. But it's from what you said, Nick, it sounds like they've already nominated, guys are already nominated, so it's going to happen. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to do like a 3-day weekend of guys up on the podium or what? Because usually it takes forever for those guys. They got like an hour and a half long speech for each one of them. Like, what are they going to do with that? I don't know.
From the new guys that I saw, I think Peyton Manning is for sure in. I think Woodson's for sure in. And then I would say Megatron's probably, I would think for sure in, but I saw some people debating that just because his career wasn't that long. And then some people were debating Jared Allen, who, is on the Vikings, so I don't want him in.
Nah.
He's not first ballot.
They're
He's
saying
not.
it.
Oh,
They're
come,
saying
who's saying that? Vikings media?
on the
Chiefs
internet.
media?
The internet.
The internet's saying it.
Twitter
Corey?
community.
You
Corey,
know it's
what do
got to be true if the internet's saying it.
Oh man, I don't know. I was hopeful. I was like, man, that'd be awesome. Because to me, Woodson, yeah, he was a good player before. Rick could probably attest. I don't know what Rick thinks of him more as, but he made like I think it was Mike Silver or somebody was talking about it in an interview or something this week, and said how he was talking. He was interviewing and in contact with Woodson during that time, and how he really changed once he started with the Packers, like changed his mindset, changed his approach, became more of a guy who was more than just relying on his talent, was really being a student of the game and used that to really take himself to a whole nother level. And that's why he was so good with the Packers. So I don't know. He's a Packer to me, man. I hope he gets in.
I think he'll get in.
And I hope he doesn't cut his speech short whatsoever. He'll just have the longest Hall of Fame ceremony of all time. Whatever. Who cares? Who
Well,
cares?
Peyton's got to talk for a while.
I know it.
Hey, I was looking back through the chat. I just want to say thanks, Andrew, for the happy birthday wishes. Appreciate that if he's still listening. And Bernard's trying to get us back on track here. He's asking about the running game. He's saying we should run the ball more. Run the ball more against the Lions. What say you, Corey Bayless?
Yeah, I agree. I did still notice that because of that lack of receiving depth, that Rodgers is still just targeting Devontae.
Yes.
So they have to do something to get rid of that. They need to run the ball. They need to have Aaron Jones. They can't just wait. They need to run the ball or find some creative way to either have Jamal Williams or AJ Dillon running and you're splitting Aaron Jones out. Something. You have to do something to take the pressure off that passing game. So I think if they could realistically get a solid number 2 or like a 1B receiver, then they're set on the offense. I don't know how they're going to do that. I know Allen Robinson wants to be traded, but they're not going to trade within the division to get him, even though they wouldn't sign him anyways. But if they could, that'd be the guy. But they do need to run the ball more.
Well, and just watching the game, Dillon needs to get more carries, and Jones needs to get his carries, and Jamal Williams can get a couple, but that's about it. I mean, it shouldn't be, that's if they want to be effective running, that's what they got to do.
Yeah.
And I know too, people were talking about this after the Vikings game, was that, okay, well, the Vikings have a lot of speed in the interior with Kendricks and all that, and Barr is even though he's a huge jerk, he's a pretty decent linebacker. And so that was a big part. And the corners were young and susceptible. And so that might have been part of the reasoning for throwing so much and not running quite as much, because you still got to get past Kendricks if you're going to run to be successful. And he is very good. So, and I mean, the way they threw it, the efficiency, the effectiveness, how easy Devontae got open against those corners. I mean, why not at that point? So
I think that's going to be the case this weekend against the Lions. Isn't their top corner out?
Yeah. They got a lot of injuries. I was going to pull it up here and go to, let's take a look at those injuries. We'll talk about them because that's, both teams have some injuries, but yeah, the Lions got some pretty important ones. Here, I'll give it a big share here. So this is the Packers injury report, which is a couple interesting notes on here. Oren Burks is listed with a groin injury, but he's a full participant in practice. So I think maybe that's a made up injury to justify why you didn't play him.
Come
or
on.
All right. Kenny Clark's got the groin. Montravius Adams got a big toe. DeGuara's got a shin.
LaFleur said today Kenny Clark is not playing on Sunday.
Yeah. Raven Green's probably out with a quad. Jenkins injured his ankle, which is bad, but I guess he's still doing okay. Lucas Patrick hopefully plays.
Participant.
And then St. Brown's out with a knee again. Wasn't his knee last year too, or was it something else? He's got bad luck with these leg injuries. And then Lane Taylor is at least still on the squad. He's not officially shut down, but it didn't look good. Turner, maybe not. And then Mercedes just got the Veterans Day of rest. So that's all. He knows what he's doing. He don't need to practice.
Yeah,
These are the Lions here. But yeah, they got Galladay out at the wide receiver spot. They got Akuda, cornerback, out with a hamstring. They got like 2 guys with hamstring injuries. Trufant is also a hamstring injury. So those guys aren't playing. And those 3 for sure aren't playing. Joe Dahl isn't playing. Actually, I think there's a chance one like Akuda might play. But they did say that Trufant's not going to play with the hamstring. Their guards out with the injury, and then of course Galladay's out with a hamstring. So we know all too well about those hamstrings. They linger and they suck. So those guys are not going to play. That'll change things. I don't know how good the run defense is, but
Well, here's the thing. I was watching the Bears-Lions game today. I wanted to see what the heck happened. How did the Bears come back
yeah,
and, win that game when they were down by so much? And it's tough to say that the Lions defense, you don't, the Bears aren't a good running team anyways, but when they put Cordell Patterson in there and he kind of just did almost like a, just go like a slasher kind of move, kind of run type stuff. He really gashed them. He really gashed the Lions. And the other thing that was weird, I noticed, is the Lions are playing zone for a little bit, and they ended up giving up a touchdown on a zone play. And for the majority of the fourth quarter, they went to man. And during that time, they did a good job. Like, they were on the Bears receivers pretty good with the corners that they had. And Trubisky made some really good passes, which was crazy to watch him throw like a 35-yard strike to the outside and all that kind of stuff. But he was doing it. And I don't know if he just was like, no fear or what. I have no idea. But he was making plays that way. The other thing I'll say is this. Jimmy Graham had 3 drops in the first half, but he was open. Okay. He also had a touchdown on a push-off where he blatantly pushed off and caught the ball for a touchdown, was not called, which is funny because in the Bengals game, the Bengals lost the game because of the same type of play, right? So that's very interesting to me that A.J. Green got called for a push-off. Jimmy Graham did not get called for a push-off. And it's obvious because he had a corner on him. So you're talking a 6'7" guy against a 10-foot or a 6-foot corner, and you can see his arm go and shove him and then catch the ball like this. And the corner's like, what? But he's a Lion, so Lions get no calls. So he got screwed out of that. And then Jimmy Graham almost caught another touchdown. And that was when the Lions were playing man. Okay. And he had a safety on him. And he kind of actually moved, and he had his big body in the way. So he caught it and he turned upfield. Then, of course, he tripped over his feet and fell at the 1-yard line just before he got in the end zone. So that was a Jimmy Graham play. You know, he's going to do that. What I'm saying by this is this. Corey's concerned about the receivers. I think this, and I know I said this last week, but this might be the tight end game, guys. This might be the tight end game. The other thing, if they do play man a lot, and the other thing I know, as you guys know, I like to listen to Chris Sims, and he says, you talk about Matt Patricia's defense. Matt Patricia likes to play man defense most of the time. He's from the Bill Belichick school. They usually play man defense with the corners, with a little bit of help from the safeties, and then, use the defensive line to get pressure and take care of the run that way. And the corners don't look for, help in the run game, which can lead to good running, as Corey was looking for, and so as Bernard is looking for. But also, it leads to Aaron Rodgers being able to scramble and maybe get out of the pocket because the backs are to him, or more back shoulder throws, stuff like that. So we'll see in this game how much Aaron Rodgers trusts MVS and Lazard based on whether he's passing those guys the balls. Because I think the corners for the Lions, even the guys that I know some guys are hurt, they were still pretty good. And I know, Allen Robinson and Miller with the Bears, they're not exactly superstars, but let's face it, other than Devontae, we don't have superstars either. We have a guy who's super fast, can't catch, and another guy who's slow and trips over his own feet, but he can catch, as far as, MVS and Lazard. But we'll see what happens with that. But I think based on what I watched, I think this could be a Robert Tonyan, Jay Sternberger, DeGuara type game. And then also take some shots to MVS and then, go to Devontae like they normally would, all that same kind of stuff. But they play a different sort of defense with that man defense if they keep doing that. It's going to be, I think it's going to help us run the ball. It's also going to help us get a lot of back shoulder throws and the tight ends a little bit more open in the middle, that kind of stuff.
You know why they call this platform Zoom? Because when you get those weird delays like that, it zooms really quick to catch you back up. So it still gets all your words in there. It just puts you on fast forward for a few seconds until you get caught up to real time. That's why they called it.
Well,
that.
I also talk really fast though too.
I know.
so-
Well, sometimes with you, it's hard to say, but and me when
Do
I
you
used to
understand
be
anything
able
I
to-
just said?
Yeah, we got it all. We got it all.
Okay.
Just so you know, it was Sarah wishing you a happy birthday before. If you didn't see that,
Oh, I just saw that.
she's using.
Well, you know
Andrew's
what?
account.
I know that Andrew. I thought it was Andrew because he was, looking out for me because I looked out for him when I went to go visit them a couple weeks back, and I, convinced my sister that her husband really should get this new amplifier that he's been looking at, and I explained to her how it would be a very really good investment. So I thought it was Andrew. So I'm sorry, Sarah. I appreciate the happy birthday from my sister as well. Thank you. Back to you.
Well, I think what the other thing that's interesting about this matchup with the Lions is the fact that Matt Stafford is one of those guys who he's got a lot of talent and he throws for a lot of yards every year, and he does, except for last year, and he does all this stuff and he can make crazy plays. But he, I don't know. And he was actually in some of these off-season quarterback lists ahead of Aaron Rodgers and blah, blah, blah. But he is kind of dangerous. He's worked a lot of his career with no running game, and they were trying to make that transition to have this running game and work with Patricia as a coach and different philosophies. But he is still a talented guy and can still make you look bad on defense. So he always is a little scary to me. I don't know what you guys think about him. I know Nick loves him as a fantasy quarterback, but
I don't. I think that he gets a lot of yards when they're losing by 3 touchdowns. So his stats are fine, but it's not really. It'd be like this last game, and the Packers will be up 3 touchdowns, and then they'll just pass all over him for a little bit, and then the Packers will win.
But why did the Packers do that? Why did the Packers let the Vikings score in 2 minutes a bunch of times and like multiple drives, 2+ minutes, and all of a sudden the Vikings score touchdowns in the fourth quarter? Why?
I don't have a good reason. they just play a little soft and then try to play to just let it happen because they're like, oh, we got the lead, we can't lose, so who cares what happens?
A lot of those big plays in those Viking drives were even runs by Madison, and they weren't always passes, by the way. And the reason why is because Z and Preston are looking for their sacks. We lost Kenny Clark, so they ran normal plays that would have ran for 3-4 yards, ended up being 12-13 yards. Madison was destroying us. That's what happened. And then in the back end, they weren't I don't know what they were doing. A couple times, then they get worried about the run because they're getting gashed by the run. And then Cousins just throws over the top twice to Thielen for touchdowns. I don't know. I will say this about Matt Stafford. I watched the game. Like I said,
Okay.
he is not very accurate downfield. I'm going to be quite honest. He did not look good. He was missing guys, or he was just off a little bit on a bunch of passes. And I don't know if it's because he's got newer guys or what happened. The other thing, on third down, at least
are you
3
trying
times,
to say, Ben, are you trying to say that that without a 6'5" long-armed receiver that could jump really high, Matt Stafford wouldn't have had that many completions during the first portion of his career?
maybe. I'm thinking maybe he thought Kelvin Johnson was still there because some of them were way too high for those guys to get. But I'll say this. 3 times on third down, he threw into double coverage, because he knew it was third down. And I don't know if he's just looking there and he just drilled it and it wasn't completed. One time he was intercepted. The ball got tipped up and got it picked off. What I will say is this. Who had a huge game and was open a lot and looked pretty quick? TJ Hawkinson. So that scares me. And he found him because those weren't passes downfield. Those were 10-yard, 8-yard passes. And then Hawkinson turned up the corner. And especially when you watch the game and you see Jimmy Graham on one side and Hawkinson on the other side, Hawkinson looked so much faster than Jimmy Graham. It wasn't even funny when you go back and forth between the plays on the Lions and the Bears and offense and whatever. The other guy was weird. Is this Cephas guy or something?
Quintez Cephas,
had a lot of good
Badgers?
catches. I don't know. Is that who it is?
Is that where he is?
It might have been. He was
Right?
good. Is he a rookie?
Yeah.
Is he a rookie? Yeah,
Yep.
he was awesome. Like he was catching stuff and like making moves and all kinds of things. And then Danny Amendola too. He wasn't
He's-
as much, but like in the first 2 quarters when the Lions got up by a bunch, it was TJ Hawkinson, that Cephas guy, and Amendola, and he was passing it boom, boom, boom. And then it was later on in the or the start of the third quarter, it was when they finally got Adrian Peterson involved, and Adrian Peterson started running all over the place. And the only reason why they lost the game is because Matt Stafford started throwing the ball again like a ding dong and throwing into triple coverage downfield when they had no choice. He shouldn't have been doing that. Like, I don't understand. Like in the first 2 drives, he was throwing the ball to the tight end, throwing it to the 2 slot receivers, and they were moving the ball. And then same thing with Peterson. He was running great. And then that's when they lost the game in the second half because they were just Matthew Stafford just does dumb stuff. I mean, him and Phillip Rivers are like the same guy, except one of them doesn't throw the ball weird. Phillip Rivers throws the ball weird. Matt Stafford throws the ball normal, but he still does dumb stuff. So that's the good news for us as Packer fans going against the Lions. Matthew Stafford, he might throw some dumb ball to you or whatever, triple coverage, whatever it is. I don't know. But I think that it's going to come down to Hawkinson and Cephas. Based on what I saw, those 2 guys he likes those 2 guys, and he was throwing to them a lot in the first 2 quarters, and they were making a difference. And I don't know, maybe the Bears changed, went into halftime and came out, and they because after that, then Hawkinson didn't do jack squat in the second half, and neither did Cephas. So maybe the Bears changed their defense around and their idea of what they're going to do and how to stop them, because they didn't get as many balls in the second half. So that's. Those are things to look out for on the Packers defense. Is we're going to have to cover a tight end who's really good, and it's his second year now, and he knows what he's doing. So who's going to take this guy? Chris Barnes. We watched Chris Barnes sniff out some screen passes, and we watched him, make some tackles for loss, and all that kind of stuff. But can he cover a tight end, or are they going to have, Amos come in and cover him, or I don't know what's going to happen. But that's the one thing I noticed about the game.
I don't think I gotta
defense on offense.
Yeah, I'm not sure who would cover him. And I'm concerned about a couple of the coverage guys, but I want to ask Corey about this because Bernard says that Adrian Peterson scares him. So he still scares him. He's scared us for a long time. Corey, who needs to step up with Kenny Clark out? Like who can we expect to actually help fill the void on the D line? Because I'm worried about that probably more than anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not even really sure who their backup is.
Well, Kiki got a lot of snaps last week, and he didn't look very good, but he was in there a lot.
I mean, he's going to have to step up. That was the one thing I did notice, and I talked to a buddy of mine about that. Looking at the early second half of that game last week, you really saw the Vikings start to run, like Ben already pointed out, and that's because Kenny Clark wasn't there. And that was a pretty telling sign of how much Kenny Clark means to that defense, not just the defensive line, but the defense in general. Because you don't have anybody that can control the line of scrimmage now and to avoid those big plays. So I don't know if it's something where they're going to have to bring an extra man down in the box, or they're going to have to do a little bit more of safety blitzes right up the middle just to bring a guy and plug that hole, and then hopefully Hawkinson isn't getting loose, or are you going to have to hope that the linebackers in the D line that you have is going to be able to hold up, because you might have to use one of those safeties to be covering Hawkinson?
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing is they might try more of those like slot corner blitzes or something like that, because then you sometimes can get a free runner and that guy's unblocked, and then maybe he gets to the back before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Because when you're playing run defense and there's a big clog in the middle, right? There's a lot to sift through as an inside linebacker, interior linebacker, or a safety kind of playing in the box. There's a lot to sift through there. But when you don't have guys on the line, when your guys on the line are getting pushed back or pushed around or moved around, you can get taken out by those guys, by one lineman, because that your guy gets pushed so far out of position, all of a sudden there's a huge hole, or you can't get to the gap you were supposed to get to because that guy got shoved around. And that's what I see. Like these guys that are light, these guys that are, not as strong as they need to be to play that inside position, like the 3 technique and on the nose, I mean, I don't know who does it for the Packers, and that stuff worries me. We already know that Za'Darius isn't a great run defender. Preston's not a great run defender. Gary looked pretty good last week overall, but he's not an inside guy either. So, like, if I were the Lions, I would just be like, here, let's run between the guard and the center a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would be the easiest game plan for them. Run right up the middle and then see what adjustments they make and then go to the tight end.
Yeah, it's worrisome, but the other part is Ben and I talked about that last week about trying, like, the Packers really need to attack more. So they know what Za'Darius is good at, what these other guys are good at, are actually attacking and penetrating. So they need to play more of that style, I think. And yeah, you're going to give up some plays then, but you're going to make some big plays too. You have the potential to make tackles for losses, potentially get, a fumble or a negative play, those type of things. Or if it's a play action, you completely blow it up and sack the guy for a big loss. So I think they need to be more aggressive with the defensive line, because if they want to just play big boy football, they're going to get pushed around on the front, and that's not going to be good for anybody. They'll just chew them up.
Yeah, I think you might see more run blitzes. You might see some more stunts where Za'Darius and Preston Smith are, twisting from the outside and coming inside to plug up them holes. You might see a little bit more of that. Not that it's an ideal way of dealing with it, but something just to confuse that line a little bit. Hopefully it'll work, but yeah, I don't know. But the one thing that will be certain is Matt Stafford will be Matt Stafford. He's his own worst enemy. It's all in here with that guy. He's got an arm for days, but he'll make mistakes, and that's just kind of been his MO against the Packers.
Yeah, we hope that continues. Ben, you got any other notes on the Lions you want to talk about?
I think I got all the stuff I saw for the most part. Yeah, it's just the same stuff I was saying. Stafford throws behind guys too. Like, he had a couple slot, like Cephas had a drop one time, but it was because the ball was thrown behind him on a slant. And I don't know how, and it could be because they were, maybe they didn't practice as much together yet. He's still trying to figure out, how he runs his routes or how he gets off the line of scrimmage or whatever. I don't know. But those are all things that are the Packers defense, in my opinion. I honestly, like, Corey said something about stunts today, just now, and they did run stunts against Vikings. And what it does is it leaves them susceptible to, like, because when they do that sort of thing, especially in the second half, they were trying to get pressure with stunts and things. And when you do that, one guy's cutting in, the other guy goes around. And it takes a team where, like, okay, if you're trying to get through this is two guys, and your hole's right here, and they can go all the way around this way, all the way around this way. When they do a stunt on a run play, that becomes this. And now you've got big holes on both sides because of that stunt. And that's how the big holes were there for Madison in that second half. And that's what scares me, because they had a big lead and they were like, let's attack. They got to pass. Let's attack them. So they did stunts and they did all this crazy stuff, and then laid huge holes there for the Vikings to run through. And I think they should do the exact opposite. I think they should have, especially with Matt Stafford, he's not going to run. You don't have to get to him fast, because he's not going to try to get away. If you can contain the pocket and push it toward him, he'll fall and trip on himself, or he'll throw it to us, and that's great. So I'd rather see the guy, instead of doing stunts, work together as a unit and condense. There were times that Vikings game where you look at where they were lined up on some of those third downs, there's like no Packer defensive linemen in front of the center and both guards. They'd have like two guys on the outside of the one guy between the guard and the tackle, another guy way outside, and another guy way over on the other side by the tackle, and there's nobody there. And it was like 9 yards of field, like where the offensive lineman can just run straight forward, and there's a big giant hole to run through right up the gut. And I don't know why they do that. And then they brought in Lancaster and Lowry were in there for a while, covering down the middle, and that did pretty good. But then they ran to the outside. Then Madison got all those big runs to the outside. So they got an issue. And I think part of it is a mindset of these guys. They want to get sacks. They want to get sacks. They want to get sacks. And because of that, it leaves them susceptible to all these big, huge runs. And it proved it in the NFC Championship game. And it proved it again once they had a big lead. Because before that, they were at least sort of shutting down Cook a little bit. I mean, he was moving the ball, but it wasn't like 20-yard gashers like they got in the second half with Madison. And I mean, he looked freaking amazing for that one drive. He was like going all over the place. So it scares me that way. But there's ways to work around it with what the guys they have. I mean, you got Lancaster's a good. I can remember his first game when he started it 2 years ago when Kenny Clark got hurt. He started against the Bears. I don't know if you guys remember, but he would take on run blocks and shed and then tackle. Right? Because they were trying to run the ball up the middle. And he would take on the block, shed the guy, tackle, shed the guy, tackle. He had a bunch of tackles. Now, that was the Bears offensive line, and they were terrible. But still, he made some plays. And he's a good run defender. But he can't do it alone. He can't be the only guy worried about the run, and everybody else is trying to get around their guy, make a sack, then leave a big wide butt hole for the running back to run through if it ends up being a delayed handoff or a running play. So they got to work together as a team and not try to. I mean, and I'm sure maybe it was called stunts. I mean, I'm sure it was called the stunt. You know, I'm sure it was. But why is the question? Why?
You like asking that question. It is funny because they do need to be more disciplined with their rush lanes. Because I mean, when they made Kirk Cousins run all. I mean, he ran all over the place for a few drives in that game, and you're like, this is Kirk Cousins, you guys. You just let him run for 15, 20 yards. Like, what the hell? Come on.
He outrun Christian Kirksey.
I know, it was bad.
What was that?
I don't know. I wanted Ty Summers in on that one because he would have caught him. But I don't know.
Summers would have caught him. He might not know what was going on. He would have caught him.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's fast. Anyway, we'll see. I mean, it'll be much like this last game. If the Packers can control the game, I mean, they controlled. I mean, time of possession was like crazy in their favor. 41 minutes to 18 plus minutes for the Vikings. If they can control the game, they get out to a lead, then they should be in great shape. Then you take away the scariness of Adrian Peterson and some of the running that they can do. I mean, you got to figure too, at this point in the season, if the Lions really wanted to use Peterson a bunch, they could give him 20 carries. Why not? If he's rolling and he gets going, sure. So you just can't let him get going. The Packers need to get a score early. They need to move the ball, keep being efficient, control the ball, and if they can do that stuff, they'll be all right for sure.
I got a question. Corey, have you heard anything in the local news there about who's going to be starting on the offensive line now that Lane Taylor is most definitely out? Like, who's going to be playing? Is it Runyon or is it going to be Patrick at left guard or right guard? Or
I think it's going to depend on Patrick's health. But I mean, it looked like Runyon played fairly well, so I would not be surprised to see him play, and then they just move Jenkins down. I haven't watched the news to know for certain, but I mean, would not be surprised if we see Runyon in there, depending on, Patrick's health.
because I don't think that, like, the media used to be able to watch practice once in a while. Now they don't let them watch anything, so they don't know who's starting where, or who's practicing where, or nothing like that anymore. So nobody knows anything, and nobody's talking. Like, LaFleur is not saying jack squat about anything other than he did say Kenny Clark's not going to play. That's all I know.
He's taking a page out of Bill Belichick's book.
Yeah, except everybody in the NFL is doing that this year. So that's something.
The other part with all the offensive linemen being banged up, I mean, let's say even Patrick goes, well, he's got an injury that could get aggravated. Jenkins has an ankle that could be aggravated. I mean, so when you look at the Packers' active roster for Sunday's game, they're going to need to allow extra line. They're probably going to have to put at least one extra lineman than they normally would on the roster for the game, which could affect, who do you then not put on there? Is it one less linebacker? Is it one less, running back? Who is it? But you're going to need to put at least one additional healthy lineman on there in case these guys that you're trying to go with that are banged up aggravate those injuries and they're out of the game again. I mean, you had 3 injuries in one game on the offensive line.
The best thing they can do for that offensive line is quick passes, quick slant passes, or swing passes to get it out of Rodgers' hands fast so they don't have to worry about blocking when he's trying to scramble for 10, 15 seconds. Get it out of his hands, let them get rested up, or get a good running game, get some tosses, something, or some quick hitters. But do whatever you can to make sure that they're not blocking for extended periods of time.
I don't know if this
It's
is
just something I thought they did great in the Vikings game.
Yeah, they did. The timing was.
I mean, because they knew, they knew they had Jenkins at right tackle, and they were like, "Hey, let's run a bunch of sweeps to the right, where we got a couple of guards there. We could run block and seal the edge." I said that on Tuesday, and I thought they did great. All those sweeps to Lazard and to Swerve and Irvin, those are awesome. You know, and and a lot of quick passes to Devontae to the outside. But that was because they were going against the Vikings, and they knew who have Kendricks and the Harris brothers in the middle of the field, and they stayed away from them. They kept going. They passed to the outside. They ran sweeps to the outside. They ran offensive run plays to the outside. They stayed away from the middle of the field because of the talent the Vikings have and the middle and the weakness they have at the outside. The Lions, I don't know what they have. I don't really know their defense that great. Like I said, I watched the game, but it's the Bears offense. It's just kind of crap. So I don't really know how, what a good offense like the Packers would actually look like against the Lions defense. And I don't know where the weaknesses are in the Lions defense because the Bears just got lucky. I mean, Mr. Trubisky got lucky. He threw some good passes for once. He ran around. He scrambled. There's one play where he looked like it. I mean, he had lions all around him in the pocket. He fell backwards, tripped over, almost, he got back up again, ran around, and then he ran for like 25 yards at a first down, like on a scramble. Like it should have happened. He should have got sacked, but somehow he got out of it. And then later on in the drive, he threw a dime to Miller in the corner of the, right before he got to the end zone. He scored a touchdown and they won. And it's just like, whoa. So I don't know. I don't know what the Lions' weaknesses are. We're going to find out. Hopefully the Packers offensive team, looked at the tape and they know the players there a little bit better. The other thing that's very interesting, I listened to Aaron Jones' press conference from today, I think, and they asked him about whether he knows what do you do, because they said that there was a stat that said that Aaron Jones faced the most 8-man in the box this last weekend against when he had to carry the ball. There are more 8-man in the box type runs than any other player in the NFL this past week. So they asked Aaron Jones, do you have to key on different factors when you have 8-man in the box? And you have so many guys in there that normally on a normal play there would be 7. And he said that it's based on what side the run is to. Like if there's an 8th guy in the box, but he's not on the side I'm running to, I don't care. But otherwise, he says he doesn't really change his keys. But what he does is he says he spends more time studying the players. And he said really interesting things. He said he studies the opposing team's linebackers and safeties and defensive linemen to see whether they like to tackle high or tackle low. He likes to see whether they what type of angles they take on plays and stuff like that. And it was very interesting to me because as a running back, a lot of times I'm thinking, they just go out there and they like look for the hole and they run, right? I mean, what studying do they do? It's not like a corner who's got to study or a wide receiver who's got to study how a corner might press you or, whether he turns his hips a certain way and whatever, because you always have to beat that guy and that kind of stuff. And I thought it was very interesting to hear Aaron Jones say that. So he says, he's like, it's really important. He's like, when there's an 8-man in the box, I count on my guys to block every guy they can and leave me with just one guy to beat. He's like, and it's my job to know what that one guy likes to do, which means he's studying the opponents. He's learning what they usually do, whether it's tackle high, tackle low, tackle with the shoulder. Like some guys don't like to wrap up, right? Know who the guy likes to wrap up. Who's the guy who likes to, spear you, all that kind of stuff. And then use that. And that's what, remember how I've always said about Aaron Jones, it's weird. How sometimes he runs and he's like leaning way over like this. Other times he's leaning toward the guy and he stiff arms him. And other times he's leaning with his legs away, right? And now I know why he does that. He studies his opponents based on their tackling techniques and the way they attack the line of scrimmage as a defensive player, which is awesome. That shows you that Aaron Jones is not just a super gifted guy. He's a super smart guy who studies and knows things. And that was a really cool, most people don't ask good questions like that. And I had never thought of it. Usually it's, they're always like, Aaron Jones, what's it like, being a good running back and blah, blah, blah. And they asked him about his contract again and all this kind of stuff. But that was a really cool question. And it was a really cool answer from Aaron Jones, showing you that NFL running backs, if you want to be good, it's not just knowing where your hole is and understanding, like reading defensive keys, also knowing when you do have an unblocked guy, what does that guy like to do to stop normal players on normal downs? And then, so he has the mental capabilities of finding the hole, making the move, seeing who the guy in front of him is, and knowing how that guy wants to attack him, and then avoiding that attack. Because how many times you see Aaron Jones get a blindside hit or get hit really hard? Not very much. He usually avoids the big hits. And I think that's because of his study. And that was a really cool question and a really cool answer of one of my favorite guys, Aaron Jones. So I thought that was a little cool nugget that some people don't really think about much, and I sure didn't think about it. And it was a great question and a great answer by Aaron Jones. I love that guy. Hopefully he understood me. I'm sure I was like,
no, we got you. I don't know if
taking it all in.
I don't know if running backs always, in the past thought like that. I don't know that some of them do currently, but that's pretty cool. And you could tell, I mean, I think it's smart for his longevity too. At his size, he's not a big guy, and he's got to avoid those monster hits because, yeah, you get pounded a lot. It's running back's like the worst job. I mean, quarterback, at least you can throw it away if guys get close. Like you can at least get rid of the ball and they're not supposed to hurt you. Running back, they give you the ball and like, okay, everybody's going to try to tackle you. 11 guys are trying to get you and hit you and take you down. So running back's rough. That's a rough job.
Well, it would be funny to see a running back one time when he's about to get hit, just throw the ball away.
Hey, I would do it if it was within the legal, you're still behind the line of scrimmage, you're on the outside and you can throw it away without a penalty. And you got all of a sudden like 3-5 guys on block coming at you. Just go ahead, throw it out of bounds. Why not?
Can't they do that?
Yeah, sure.
As long as they're not past the line of scrimmage and the offensive linemen aren't downfield.
Right.
But how many times does that happen? I don't know. But I mean,
yeah.
So it could happen if he's ever behind the line of scrimmage.
Nico said his phone died. He didn't just because normally at least when he's gonna leave, he's like, gotta go, and then he just leaves. But this time we didn't even get a gotta go. He just left.
Well, hey, thanks, Nico, for coming on for my birthday celebration. And thanks, Corey, for coming on for my birthday celebration. And Ekis and Brown Dog and Rick and everybody who's coming on. That was nice. Because my day sucked. And this made my day a lot better to seeing all these, a lot of faces, to be quite honest, I didn't really want to see. But they're good guys, so I'll take that.
Well, we got a game Sunday. Packers home opener. It's going to be weird. Corey, before we go, did you have any thoughts on or any ideas about the Packers not having fans there and making that decision, making that call?
I'm okay with it. It was interesting to watch the game last week with Minnesota not having any fans in there. I mean, I think atmosphere-wise, it kind of brings it down a little bit. But when talking with my buddy, he made a good point. He says, not having fans in the stadium makes Aaron Rodgers that much more dangerous because he doesn't have to worry about, competing with the fans. His hard count is crazy to the way it is. He's just that much more of a dangerous man. As Stephen A. Smith, he's a bad man.
It was weird. I think, one thing it does for those guys is it makes them experience what playing football in Oklahoma was like for a while. It was kind of the same. It was very quiet, and until you had a good team, then people got excited. But we had all these teams that got like trounced for years and years and years. Like when you were going to play Jim Flanagan's Southern Door Eagles, and we knew Oklahoma was going to get their butt kicked, and it was very quiet. So it's kind of like that, but it does leave these guys, I think, the communication is a lot better. You don't have to worry about the fan noise. I mean, all that stuff is huge, and maybe it's not an advantage for you when you're playing your home game, but hey, if you're good and you know what you're doing, like the Packers were last week, you don't need that advantage. You just play your game and light them up. Right, Ben? Light him up this Sunday. I don't want a close game. I don't want a victory with Mason Crosby kicking the game-winning field goal as time expires this time. I want a blowout. Trounce him. Knock him down. Smack him around. Throw it all over the yard. Let's go. Tight ends. 150 receiving yards for tight ends this week. Right, Ben? Come on.
I don't know if I'll go that far. Aaron Rodgers got to actually throw it to him. I mean, come on. Last week he was feeling the field and he didn't even throw. He threw one ball he threw two balls to Guara, who technically was a fullback in last week's game. So he's not even a tight end. And I don't think he even threw the ball once to anybody else as a tight end. So I don't know. But that, like I said, that could have been because of the matchups and that kind of stuff.
For sure.
But hey, I'm cool with it either way, as long as they win. But it's cool to see MVS attack the field downfield, because I know that even if there's a 50-50 chance he's going to catch it, but that defense has got to be 50-50 worried about that, right? So that's good news for everybody, because it's going to open up stuff in the middle and that kind of thing. And he proved it. Now it's on tape. It's on tape where if you're not watching out, he'll burn right past you. So I don't know how much single man coverage we're going to see on him. You might be more zone against on that side or whatever. Or if you double team Devontae, like they did on that huge touchdown to him, hey, you're in trouble. So that's cool. Let's see him attack. Let's see him run the ball. Let's see a little bit more A.J. Dillon. Let's make sure Aaron Jones gets his touches as well. Jamal Williams can be in there for pass protection. That's all I want to see him in there for. Swerve and Irvin on the end around. Let's get some tight ends involved. Set MVS deep a couple times. Chuck it up there. Alan Lazard for the possession, third down when we really need it. And then I don't know. Okay, I don't want to see Devontae get 17 targets.
No, he needs 20, not 17.
No more. Eckes has got too many dang points on his fantasy football team. No more. He can get 5 targets. That's okay, not 5. He's an
He'll get at least 10 targets.
Okay, fine, 10 targets. But I mean, come on. There's other guys on the team that deserve some love. They work hard too. Dang it.
Well, hey, Chris Sims proved this week. Did you see his Unbuttoned podcast episode where he talked about the Packers?
Yeah. What about it?
He proved that he's one of our secret subscribers, because he said the same exact thing we've been talking about. How MVS is the key to the Packers offense, and the Packers don't have, because the Packers don't have any other receiver like that. They don't have another fast receiver that can stretch the field. He's the only one. So he is actually the key to their offensive success. And I said he was the most important player for the offense. And he is. I said that weeks ago. And we've been talking about MVS, how he's the key to their offense for weeks. And Chris Sims finally figured it out, or he finally listened to one of our shows and then stole it from us. But that's fine. Either way, we were right, and we are right.
I highly doubt Chris Sims listened to our show, but that's okay.
Hey, the one other thing before we go, because it's your birthday. Now, last week we did cut-ins after the first quarter, halftime, third quarter, and at the end of the game. We did that rather than trying to do the Hafeman Brothers live game reaction or whatever. And that was I'm going to tell you, because Ben and I were on the Zoom call the whole time, so I got to hear all of the swears coming from Ben during the game. Luckily, you didn't have to hear all those because we didn't broadcast the whole time. We just did it for a couple of minutes at the end of each quarter, because there were a lot of F-bombs and a lot of swears coming out during, especially with the MVS drops and some of the other bad plays and like stuff like that. Bad run defense. It was like, whoo, F this and F that. I mean, there was a lot happening over there, Ben.
Really? I don't know.
And the other funny part was I was on antenna. So Ben was watching on like a stream. And so I was literally 10 to 15 seconds ahead of you, but we were trying to watch the whole time. And then you're like, oh, this isn't going to work because you know what's happening. I'm like, all right, I'll just be straight faced. I won't react to any of the plays. So I couldn't react to any of the plays. I couldn't react to any of the plays, good or bad. Yeah. Otherwise he was like, I'm gonna just end it. We can't do this anymore.
Well, and I was watching the game with Nick.
I sucked at first, and then I was like, okay, I'm not.
You were
gonna
really
do
bad
it
at first.
Yeah.
Then you just try to like.
Then
you'd
I
be
was
like,
like,
oh, and I'd be like, what? Oh, it's gonna be bad, and you'd be like, oh no, it's just you're not gonna like it. or you're gonna this next 2 plays from now, you're gonna be yeah. And I'm like, just stop it. And I couldn't say anything anymore because I was saying things to Nick every time you'd say something, and Nick's like, "That's it, cut it off. I can't do this. I can't do this." And I was like, "Okay, I won't tell you what he says this time," because I had you in this year. I had Nico next to me over here yapping at me, and I'm trying to listen to Greg Jennings at the same time, and I got nothing out of Greg Jennings, which is probably for the best. But it was hard to, like, I'm listening to you, and Nick doesn't say a whole lot, as you know
No,
from
he doesn't
on the
talk
show.
much.
But every now and again he'll be like, "Yeah," or whatever, but not too much.
He only says a lot before the game when he tells you what receiver not to start because they're going against the Packers. And you're not supposed to listen to him, but you did, and you lost in fantasy because of it. So way to go. All right. So you gave Mo a happy birthday for losing to him. Now you give yourself a happy birthday this weekend in fantasy by winning, Ben. Win.
I hope so.
All right. Sarah,
Rick,
I'm
just
sorry,
said he's
but
buying me Culver's.
Woo! See that? Whenever he sees you next. Sarah, I'm gonna have to take you down this weekend in fantasy. Sorry about that. I lost week 1. I got to get back to 500. Corey, how's your fantasy going so far?
Not in any fantasy teams.
Woo! That's it. Next year, you want to join the league,
Yeah,
the official
sure.
league? All right.
You need somebody to actually, win it and dominate it.
Oh,
And I'll tell you, Corey, nobody from our family is any good.
A year of trash talking.
You got a
ahead
good
of
chance of being better than the rest of us.
is crap.
No.
all
Actually,
right.
Dad is good this year. Isn't Dad like in first place or something?
Dad had a monster first week. He had, and we didn't expect it. Like, you looked at his team and you figure, oh, it's Dad's team again. He's going to be 11th or 12th. But in the first week, he lit him up. He had like 160 points.
Did you beat Eckes?
Maybe. I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I don't know that he played Eckes, or can he beat Eckes? Is that what you're saying?
No. His point total was at the highest?
Oh,
Was it more
no.
than
He
Eckes?
was third. It was Travis, Eckes.
Oh,
and
Travis, who took all the
then-
guys I wanted.
Yeah. Including
Yeah.
Clyde Hilaire and whoever else.
Yeah.
But hey, Chubby had a good one last night for you.
Yeah, he did.
So,
That's
all right,
good.
Corey, study up. Next year we get you in we'll expand HFF league to 14 players. You're in for
Yeah,
sure.
we gotta get Rick back.
Rick, commit to it. You're
Get Corey
14.
and Rick back.
Come on, let's do it, Rick. Come back to fantasy football. He's been out of it for a while too. And then you guys can talk about nerd games during the fantasy draft. All right, we got to go.
Good games.
Ben, happy birthday. I love you, bro.
Happy birthday, Ben.
Thanks for your birthday, everybody.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Corey.
Packers help you out with a win on Sunday for your late birthday gift. Let's do it.
That'd be awesome.
All right, go Pack, go. Everybody have a good weekend. Watch the game Sunday, noon, Lambeau Field.